Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Misfortune Legacy episode. Lux the Gray here. We're continuing our descent into this newly discovered maze dungeon place. The Watcher is right at the front entrance, the stairwell, and just off camera, I have maze rats, the rules, ready to go for any maze related generation tables. And in other news, I have purchased a the official compact version of Maze Rats, the actual booklet. That will be, I'm thinking, the size of this, of Table Fables, which I have this always on standby for items mostly. Now, at the entrance of this maze, this is the entrance, so let's draw up a condition for this room. So let me flip through the pages here. Dungeon forms, we have, I'm going to use I'm going to use this page right here off camera. So let me zoom out just a bit so you guys can see. There we go. Okay, now we're looking at dungeon room details to first set up the feel of this specific room. And it's a 2d6 list. Blue will be for the table, the column, and red will be for the choice. So dungeon room details. What is this room right here feeling like? So let's use the cup here. So blue will be the table, red three is the choice. So two, we're looking at crumbling walls. Okay, so the walls, where's my pen? Here it is. The walls, crumbling walls. Okay, and then there is going to be a dungeon hazard as we are just at the stairwell. I did include a statue before I concluded the last episode. So the actual hazards for this dungeon here, for this room specifically, is going to be a narrow passage. I'm thinking that it will be because it's not narrow. I drew it. It's a 5 by 4 room size. So we're looking at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet wide, 20 feet long. So we'll ignore that. But that does give me an idea for a trap, if there is a trap in this room. Now let's roll to see if there is a trap in this room. That would be 50-50 chance there is one. And there is a trap. Okay, so right off the bat, the trap will be a trigger, and I have triggers right here. So we do have a trap. The trigger will be, let's see what we got. What triggers this trap? So 5, 5, sit. So something, I'm going to say that this statue has like a bench that circles around it. Kind of like fountains do in marketplaces. I'm going to say that it has a bench that you can kind of sit on. But that's the trigger. It's not a very like obvious trigger. I don't think the watcher would sit down at this time at this point. So we'll keep that in mind that he has to sit down. And the trigger would be, whoops, the trigger effect will be spiked pit. Okay, so the statue turns into it opens up and then turns the whole statue turns into a pit of spikes, a spike pit. Okay, now he's walking through. And as he's walking through, he has a feeling that something is unusual about this area because his spear, like I mentioned in the last episode, is glowing and it's giving off a strange aura at the top of the tip of the spear. And now that he's descended into this dungeon, the spear is giving off a much stronger glow and an aura. So he's now at the bottom floor. He's now at the entrance of this room here, and I am going to be using the mythic, one-page mythic oracle for general questions for this episode. That's the challenge for this episode. Each episode I have a challenge for myself, changing oracles, not just using. So let's roll to see what happens when he enters this room as an action. So 64, information. Okay, so he receives information or he sees information. I'm going to say the statue is what he notices that he recognizes something on the statue. And the statue is going to be 98. Valuable. Okay, so the statue is solid gold. That's what I'm thinking. It's a statue of the wolf that he saw up on ground level essentially, and it's a solid golden wolf. Write that down right here. I'm not trying to take up too much real estate with because I want to make sure the dungeon has some room to get to the other side. But as he's looking at the statue, the golden wolf, there is a plaque right beneath its feet, its paws, its front paws. There's a plaque that has information on it. And there's a saying. I'm going to see if we can draw up a phrase. It says something like a book. Now, the table Fables does have some interesting. Let's use a tarot card section because that's always fairly vague. It's just vague enough to use. So 54 will be the choice. I'm sorry, 20 is the list here. Okay, so 6. The sellsword depicts a figure with two faces, one smiling, one weeping. The archetype of split morality indicates learning duality and the slim line between right and wrong. Okay, so he see that it can say that in that context, basically, duality indicates the slim line between right and wrong. It says basically words to that nature. I like that. So he's thinking the spirit that he saw earlier represents some kind of balance between the physical and the spiritual plane. Now that he's down here, it's obvious to him, to the watcher, that the spear, the holy spear, has to do with the spirit realm in his world. And the gem, unknowing if it's still down here or not, most likely it's not, which we don't know yet, because we think it's has some kind of connection to the kingdom, the capital. But for now, he's curious now. So he knows he's in the right place. This was completely he found this place inadvertently, like just by chance. And so he's going to walk around the statue as he observes it, and he sees that door right here. And as he's walking around the statue, something happens. Let's see what happens. 4. There's a benefit. He sees a loot, basically. He sees an item. There is a item right on the side of the statue on the bench where we were talking about that earlier. And the item is going to be, let's try Let's see what Maze Rats has to offer for items. Table Fables it has a very, very good, rich amount of items, but I'm curious. Treasure item. Let's use a treasure item. So you guys can't see. I'm kind of looking at off the camera here. It's by valuable items and treasure. Let's do treasure. So red will be the list option, the listed choice, and blue is the actual list. So 2-1. 2-1 will be a compass. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so the compass he finds, the trait of the compass is going to be non-human. The compass is made of bones. Ooh, that sounds great. So there is a compass that he finds that's made of two skeleton, bone hands like this that have a dial in the middle with the glass. So it's basically now he picks it up slowly because it's a very interesting item to him, and we'll add that to inventory. Now I'm gonna kind of curious how to write that down. Let's say bone compass. Now, when he picks the compass up, the does he notice if let's roll a skill check? Does he notice with willpower that the compass on the bench, the tile of the bench, it's slightly down. It's pressed in. So when he picks it up, does he notice before he actually grabs it? Does he see? This would be like perception roll. I'm gonna do difficulty of 8. 3, 3, that's going to be a fail. That's a 7. He fails to see that there's a slight change in the bench tile. So he picks up the bone compass and he's mesmerized by it. He's holding it with one hand. But when he picks up the tile on the bench starts to shake and then it goes up and clicks. And then the room starts to shake, the entire room like a quake. And he's looking around, not panicking. He's kind of stepping back. So I'm going to say he's in this corner right here. Now we rolled earlier that the trap was a spike pit, but he didn't sit on it. He picks me up off of the pit, off of the bench. So I feel like that trap might change at the moment. But let's see what happens after he picks up that when the click happens. What happens to the room? Let's do a descriptor. So 78. The room is going to. Okay, so the room goes quiet. It shakes. There's dust and debris falling from the ceiling. It stops because the walls are crumbling. So nothing happens. It's quiet. There is no pit. Nothing happens to the statue, but the room shook. And then he's looking at the now he's continues to look at the skull, the compass with the two skeletal hands. And does the compass needle spin? Let's see. Let's say percentage chance. I'm going to say very likely. So over here, if you guys can barely see it, very likely 13. Yep, that's a strong exceptional yes. Now for exceptional yeses, the answer is yes and more goes beyond your expectations. Okay, so with that in mind, what happens to 13? Character. The compass, the needle starts to spin, and then it says character, so something has to happen directly with the watcher. I'm going to say that the needle stops and points because when he picked it up, I forgot to mention the needle was kind of loose. It wasn't exactly like when you pick up a needle or a compass. I'm sorry, not a compass, a balancing stick for construction or for carpenter work. I forgot what it's called. It's a balance. The bubble kind of moves when you do this. That's how the compass was when he was moving it, looking at it. The needle would kind of sway. It wasn't going any really certain direction. But then the minute he picked it up and the room shook, the needle now points north. So north is going to be, let's just say it's just based on the map. like that. It's just going to be pointing north. So the needle's pointing north now, and then the spear glows a little more. And now the compass has a similar aura too, similar to the spear. So I think it's blue if I have been consistent with that color. But now the compass, a very slight radiance of blue is peeking through. And he sees the doorway. The compass is pointing at the door. And so he walks up to the door here. And it's going to be let's see, I'm going to say it's a stone door. Let's see what happened. Let's see what the Maze Rats has for doorways. I don't think it does have anything for doorways. Dungeon room details, the door. Let's roll for the details of the door. I do see one I like. Oh, whoops, rolled the wrong one. I do see one that says skeleton, corpses. Crumbling walls, which we rolled earlier. So I'm going to ignore that. Oh, no, sorry. List three. You know what? Let's use corpses. So not like actual corpses, but it's a stone tab. It's a large stone wall, the ones that go up and down, and there are basically there is like skeletons on it, basically, kind of carved into the wall, into the door. And both skeletons there's two skeletons, they humanoid looking creatures, and their hands are just joining together, but the actual hands are missing. There's a slight, there's a imprint on the door that looks awfully similar to the compass. Now, I'm going to say that the watcher knows this. Really, no roll required, but we can. This will be a will check. Does he connect the dots? That I'm going to do a low. I'm going to do a low four with this one. He does easily knows. Yeah, that's the compass I'm holding. So he walks up to the door and puts the compass into the into the door. The door shakes, and the following happens. Let's roll. Whoops, ignore that. The following happens. Four. Benefit. Okay, the door opens. So the stone door, it shakes and it starts to open up. And as it opens, he can see down this hallway that has a fork in the road, but it's dark. It's really dark. So I'm gonna do a slight little, just some shade, some just a little darkness there. There we go. And he sees that. But when he opened it up, not carelessly, but fairly casually, the following happens when he opens it up. Is there any hazards in this hallway to a falling floor? Okay, so there's tiles missing. There is spots in the floor that are missing tiles, kind of at random, like a checkerboard, but not organized. He can see some of them at first. There's pieces of the tiles missing. And as he's slowly walking into the hallway, remember, he doesn't have a torch. We don't have a torch on our hands, and we don't have any method of magic to really see. So this could be really dangerous. If he rolled dexterity, I would give it a very high difficulty. He would fall through one of these pits. Now, does he see the? We didn't really roll. Does he see these holes? So holes in floor. Now we need to roll to see if he spots these holes because it's really dark. So I don't think he'll carelessly walk in. I don't think he'll walk in blindly. Let's do a perception check to see if he can see the holes in the ground. And now the holes in the ground are just a void, a black void. You look down them, there's nothing down there. It's an endless drop, and they're about the size of a person. Like they're three by 3 feet maybe. I'm gonna do a difficulty of I'm gonna do 10, do pretty high. So we see a will check of 8. Oh my gosh, 12 is a perfect. So even without the bonus, that's a critical success. So he is walking and then he spots the slight difference in the floor between the tile and, well, no tile, the drop. So the light from behind him, from just from the outside, peeking through the first room, he got a glimpse of the tile. And now he sees that. So he's going to turn and walk slowly. But again, he doesn't have a light source. So I'm thinking that the watcher's worried that he has no way of creating a light source. There's no light source down here. He needs to find a way to create a light source. So we never really rolled to see if there was a torches in this room. We can say, let's do 50-50 on that one. So 50-50. There's definitely, oh my gosh, yeah, there's definitely no torches. So I can't really throw that anchor for him. So with that in mind, this is a pure dexterity roll. So his goal is going to try to get to the other side before the path corridor splits into a T like that. So we have to roll dexterity. He sees the tiles. I'll give him that. So because we rolled a perfect 12, I will lower the difficulty to 8. Again, he has a dexterity of +2, which is impressive for an old sage. All right, here we go. Nope, he does not make it. So that's 4, that's a 6. So with the +2, 6 total. As he is walking slowly around them, he saw them at first. He saw the first one, the perfect 12. He trips and falls over face front into the floor, falls over a hole. So his foot catches it. He trips over and falls forward. This will be the second time he's fallen. And he falls right between the fork in the corridor. Now, when he fell, he has to drop something. I'm going to say he drops his compass. Now, the compass slips out of his hands and falls down. Let's see if it falls into one of the holes. So he's basically like that. We're being rough on the guy, but let's see if he does fall, if the compass does fall into one of the holes. I'm going to say 50% chance because, again, it's half of the tile. Oh my gosh, that's a strong no. The tile literally, the compass literally rolls and stops right before the actual one of the bottomless pits. So technically he has lost the compass, but it's still within range. He gets up, he walks slowly forward, just keep an eye on his step, and he picks the compass back up. Now, when he picks the compass up, what happens? So I'm thinking that something happens to the compass that he lost it. Let's do a descriptor. 73 or action. Negative. So something negative happens with the compass. The needle starts to spin endlessly, just it keeps spinning, and then 5-1, let's see. Rotten ceiling. I like that. So as the needle is spinning, the ceiling above him starts to not crumble, but starts to like bake. It starts to bubble like it's being boiled. And he's seeing that he's panicking now, and he's surrounded by pits. He's surrounded by these holes in the floor. And what he's going to do is just choose a direction. So right now he's at the split point. He's gonna go. I'm thinking the compass is spinning. It's not helping him out right now because he dropped it. Maybe he broke it or something happened to the compass. He's gonna he's just basically gonna shake the compass. Maybe he's gonna hit it once to see if it works. Does that actually help? Let's do 50-50. So he hits the compass with his hand. Oh, it does. Okay, so that's a strong yes. So I'm sorry, that was a 50-50. Yep, it does. The compass stops spinning, and the needle kind of settles west. So he goes to the left, and there's no more empty tiles. It's solid floor. Now he gets up to a door right here, right here. So the doorway, okay, he's right there. Now the door, it's another this door. Let's see what it looks like. What is special about this door? Let's do dungeon room details. 2-6. Dripping water. Ooh, okay. So this door looks like it's a solid stone door. It doesn't have the keyhole for the for the compass, but it looks like there's water coming out of it. Like there's just dripping water, not a waterfall, but like little water droplets are coming out of it. And he looks up at the ceiling to see if it still has that boiling effect. I'm gonna do less likely now because you got past that. Unlikely. Let's see. Whoops, I keep forgetting to reset the die. 38. Less unlikely. Is it still boiling? No, it's not. Okay, it's just a standard no. The ceiling stopped stopped bubbling, so that's past him. Most likely it still is behind him, but not above his head right now. In the doorway, the compass is still pointing west through this door, and he sees water droplets. Now he's gonna put his ear against the wall to see, is this room literally filled with water? Like if he opens this door up, does it open up and a giant wave of water crashes into him? So let's ask the Oracle. Does this water have room behind the doorway? I'm gonna say likely. So 93. Oh my gosh, that's on the border of no and extreme no. So it does not. That's a very solid roll. So he puts his ear against it. So we know there's no water in the room, but he doesn't know that. We rolled a story, basically a question for the world itself. Now we're gonna do a will check to see if you can hear anything behind there through the stone with a +1 bonus. I'm gonna do because it's a stone wall. I'm gonna do difficulty of 10, which is the standard for maze rats. Oh, and he got it. So 9 plus a 1 bonus, that's 10. He doesn't hear any water. What he does hear is cracking sounds. He hears crackling, I believe. Let's roll to see what does he hear exactly. 40, 49. He hears a fight going on, like cracking, like something's being punched. Like something keeps cracking, something keeps getting hit in a pattern. Okay, so he steps back. He's looking around the door. Let's do a knowledge roll to see if he knows how to open this door because it's still not open. We'll do a +1. I'm going to say 8 on the difficulty. So 6, 7, and again, he just gets it. 8. He remembers now that this door has not the compass itself, but maybe his spear, the holy spear. So he's looking around the door to see if there's any like pressure points, pressure plates, and he sees one kind of near the top, and there's a line going down the middle of the door, and at the top there is a position. There's a engrave of a gem shape item. So he puts the spear into the door, and the door starts to shake, and it opens very slowly. He backs up as this massive stone door opens and opens and opens and stops halfway. So he looks down, and what does he see? Let's draw another room. So he sees a very small room like so. And there is a river of lava right there. Lava. That was a crackling sound. It was like how lava sounds, like bubbling and crackling sounds. That's what he was hearing. So he looks halfway, and that's what's giving off a very good source of light. So he takes the spear out of the door as it almost got stuck in the ceiling. He pulls it out. We'll do a strength check to see if he can pull it out. I'll do a 4 on this one. So yeah, he pulls out even whatever difficulty it was. So even 10, he pulled out the spear. He pops the spear out of the hole. It got stuck in the door, and he walks up. Now the room, it's just a stone floor. Now let's roll a detail on the room. Dungeon room details. 6-4. Okay, we have vibrations. All right, so vibrations. The room, vibrations. Oh, okay. As the lava is just so intense, as the lava the stream seems to go north. His compass also points kind of to northwest, and there is a door. I want to say right here, but there's no other way. There's no bridge. There's no way to climb over. It's just a space between the floors with a lava pit, with a stream of lava, and it's vibrating. The floor is shaking as he's standing. You can see the pebbles on the floor are like shaking and moving around because it's just so intense with the lava. And now his spear, he looks at it. It's now emitting a red glow as he's on this side of the dungeon. And now he's currently at an impasse. There is no bridge. It's about a 5 foot wide river of lava. The room is shaking. His spear is emitting a strange red glow, familiar to lava. And he sees a door because the room is intensely bright. He sees a door on the northwest corner. Now, the dungeon hazard for this room will be the following 4-3. Let's see what that is. Let's see. Can barely see this far. Spider webs. Okay, so spider webs. He sees spider webs. Whoops. Right here in the corner. Very, very big spider webs on the other side, almost mainly in the corner surrounding the door. So I'm going to put spider webs covering that door. Now, is there any spiders, large uh, spiders around in this room? I'm going to say unlikely because they would have attacked by now. Unlikely. 84. Nope, there's no spider. That's a general no. Okay, so there's no spiders. But the spider webs are a possible, that's basically that's a hint that there is spiders most likely behind that doorway. So he's complicit right now. He's a little concerned that this dungeon will obviously be more of a challenge than he thought. And that's where I'm going to leave this episode of Misfortune Legacy. So I feel like I should keep going. You know what? I'm going to keep going. I'm sorry, guys. I almost closed it off, but I really want to see what happens here. Okay, so he has to find a way to cross the lava. He can jump. That'll be a dexterity. We can try it. He doesn't really have anything that can help him cross. There is a rope. We can try that. Is there anything he can tie the rope to? Let's see. I'm going to say unlikely on this one. Anything in the room that can tie a rope to? 23, unlikely. Oh, there is. Okay, that's a middle of the road. Yes, there is. Okay, so there is a not a pole or like um like an elevated platform, but I'm going to say that there's some, let's see, what is sticking out here? I'm going to say the spider webs are right here. And let's draw, what would it look like? What am I looking for here? Let's see, descriptors, 32. Fragrance. Hmm. What could he throw a rope onto? Maybe some stones? Maybe there's a heavy pile of stones like right here. And then it looks, oh, you know what? The wall, crumbling wall from earlier, there's a pile of stones that broke off of the ceiling. And there's a portion of the ceiling that's on you can still see through. But there's a pile of rocks. I should say brick, I guess, or something like that. Bricks. They're on the floor now, and he's looking around to see if he can tie it to the rock and throw it over to try to catch something on the other side. Now, is there anything on the other side to throw the rope to? I'm going to say unlikely. Unlikely. Oh my gosh, it really is. There really is. That's a strong yes. Okay. So I'm going to say that there is a pot, whoops, right here on the other corner. It's a large pot right there, like a vase, like a very large vase. So he's going to drag one of these boulders to the other side, which will be a strength check. I'm going to say I'm going to say an 8 for this one, plus one bonus. Oh my gosh, 7. He cannot do it. He cannot grab the boulder, the biggest one that would be safest to tie a rope to. Just fell short of the difficulty. So he's unable to drag the boulder. It's just stuck in the floor. He can't grab it. So he has to um, find a way to just jump this. Oh my gosh, to jump this river of lava. I think he can do it. 5 feet wide. I think he can. He's older, but the pot, I'm wondering if he can use the rope still for anything. He looks back at his compass, and it's still the needle is still pointing to the door, so that's where he has to go. Oh, you know what? I have a bow. Here's what he's going to do. He's going to take his bow and tie a rope to one of the arrows and fire it to the other side. Hopefully, it sticks into the wall, and then tie it to the stone, or use another arrow and uh, connect the rope to the other side and slam it into the wall. Hopefully, the arrow sticks between two stone into a crease. Okay, so we'll try that. We'll fire. This will be, I think. Let's do dexterity for this one. So I'm going to do a pretty high difficulty for this. I'm going to do 10. Let's do the game standard. So I'm really going to shake the dice here. Plus 2 on this one. He's going to fire the arrow, the bow, to the other side. And he gets it with a 12. So 10 plus 2 bonus. He gets it. The arrow lands perfectly into the wall between two stones, between the two bricks in the wall. The arrow is about halfway seated inside, and with the rope hanging. Now he's holding onto the rope. He grabs another arrow. He ties it to the arrow, and now he's going to try to find. He has to slam the arrow without breaking it into the same opposite side, about at head level, so he can grab it and carry himself over. Extreme parkour at this point. So he's going to slam it. This will be a strength check. I'm going to say 6, just a low difficulty. Strength check, and he gets it. So 6 plus the 1 to 7. So the arrow fits perfectly into a hole, and then he's going to pull the rope. Does the rope hold his weight? Let's say, I'm going to say likely. I don't want to be too generous, but likely. 86. Oh, shoot. It doesn't. He he pulls the rope and it snaps off based on the side that he's on. So it pops off the arrow that he slammed into the wall. but it's still hanging on the other side. If I rolled an exceptional no, it would have popped off the arrow on the other side too. So he's gonna try to tie it to the stone, but the problem is the stone is just up to his waistline, so it's not that tall. He ties it around the stone really tight. No check for that. I'll let that slide. And now he's gonna basically have to do this. If I can draw this out, let me use a note card to visualize it for you guys. So I don't know what this is called, but if here's the wall, here's the room's floor, here's the lava, and then here is the other side that he's standing. So he's right here. I'm not an artist, by the way. And the arrow he shot tied with the rope, it's kind of like this. And then there's a big boulder right here that he tied it to the head to the other side of the boulder. Now, he has to do this. Crawl and wrap his legs around the pipe like that. He basically has to do that. He has long hair. So that's what he has to do. That's the plan. I actually like this idea of using the note cards to visualize certain really these dangerous rolls, but this will be a danger roll. So he has to crawl over to get the other side. I kind of wish I was drawing the Fallout kid. The thumbs up, really happy. He got it. So that's the idea. It kind of looks like someone's about to cut the rope on him, but I'll keep that to the side. That's what he needs to do. So you want to try it? I'll keep his character off of the map here, and we're gonna roll for it. So this will be a combination of, I think this is dexterity, because this will be an athletic. Well, man, my game, my rules, but I want to follow it right, you know? Let's try it. Okay, I'm gonna do a difficulty of 8 for this one. Okay, so dexterity +2. Does he make it to the other side? 6, 7, 8, 9. He does the bonus +2. He barely makes it. Well, not barely. He makes it to the other side. He hops up and now he's successful on the other side. He's gonna keep the rope there, but now he doesn't have his rope. So I'm gonna take that off his inventory. It's about 50 feet. So there's a rope right here that's tying both sides together. He looks at his compass, and the needle is pointing directly in front of him, in front of the door. Now this door, it's another stone door, but it has the engraved marks of a spider web. Like you see the actual markings of a spider web, like it was drawn on there, not an actual spider web, but there is the actual spider web cobs, the spider web cobs, to his left, and then right in front of him on the door. There's no now. Is there any eggs? That's my other question for the oracle. Are there any eggs now that he's closer? I'm going to say likely, like spider eggs, giant spider eggs. Likely with 79 is a no. There's not. Okay, so there's no spider. They're just the spider web itself. So he grabs the spider web cobs and brushes it away. Makes a path for the door, and the door is just a solid brick wall, a brick door with no markings besides the spider web. There's no real indication of how to open this thing unless we roll a knowledge check. So we'll do will. I'm gonna do a we'll do willpower, but I'm gonna do 8 for this one. Nice, another critical. He remembers the following about this door. Let's roll for the descriptor. 22. Conflict. He has to burn. Okay, I like that. Okay, so I thought of it. It kind of helped. He has to burn what looks to be the spider web on the door with something. Well, there is lava in the room, and he has a spear, not the holy spear. He has a regular spear. So he's going to take his other spear, dab it into the lava, and try to scoop up, causing it to burn quickly, and then touch the door with the flame. I think he can do that without any rolls. So he does that, and the spider web on the door burns, and now there's just a trail marks of smoke, and the door starts to shake like the other ones and opens up slowly, revealing a new path. So now he got through that doorway, and there's a new long, narrow path that turns to the right, and it goes to this other room right here. We're gonna make this room a little more spherical, kind of like the Death Star of it. Let's see, it's too tall. There we go. It's not bad. Okay, and there'll be two doorways, right here and then right here. So he sees this path, but this path is dark, and there is again we don't have a torch. We should have had a torch before we even walked in, but that's my fault, or I should say that's Watcher's fault. But he sees spider webs all over this path, and he's thinking as it's getting more intense, there's going to be something on the other side of this corridor. So I'm going to write spider webs. Spider webs all over the place. So spider webs right there. Okay. So he's standing right now at this corridor with giant spider webs just randomly stretching out through the corridor from as far as you can see, probably 3 or 4 tiles down. And his spear, we got to figure out, does a spear burn? Like, I'm going to say if it's some kind of material, that it does burn the entire spear, or does it make it a torch? We'll give him that benefit. Does it make his spear a torch? I'm going to say likely. His regular spear, not the holy spear. It does. Okay, so the spear he has now is a torch. So I'm going to erase. Um, it's a flaming spear. It's a fire spear. We'll call it that. The fire spear. Using some kind of luck and magic, there is now a fire torch. I'm sorry, fire spear. There we go. And then fix the other item here. Longbow. Okay, there we go. Had to fix the spelling there. So longbow +1, fire spear +1. Okay, so the using the spear's light, though I'm going to say it's going to be this fire effect will last for only D4 minutes. So let's see how long it lasts. 4 minutes. Okay, so he has 4 minutes for the spear to last, for the fire on top of the spear to last before it burns out. Okay, now is there spiders in this corridor? I'm going to say there's a very likely. So let's see. Very likely, 62. There is, but they're small because that's a weak yes. There's small spiders that he sees their glowing red eyes reflecting off of the um, reflecting off of the right here. There's two of them reflecting. They see him too, so they're running up to him. There's two of them running up really fast as he's standing right there, and that's where I'm going to end this episode. So we'll finish a note for myself. We just opened up this new corridor, and there are a bunch of cobwebs and spider webs throughout the entire corridor. It's about 40 feet deep. 15, I'm sorry, 20 feet deep. And suddenly there's these mutated large, well, I guess baby spiders that see him, flank him, or not flank him. They see him, they get startled, and now they're running at him. So that's where we're going to leave off the episode. Okay, another fantastic episode in my opinion. I thought it went well, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, I'll see you next time. This is Lexa Gray signing out.